Downtime at a surface mine can mean tens of thousands of dollars in sunk costs. The right engine cooling system can help mitigate that. Hi, welcome to Horton Inc. here in Roseville, Minnesota. I'm Phil Irvin, our content marketing manager, and we have a fun day in store. Today we'll be talking about engine cooling systems for mining, including the RCV 2000 variable speed fan drive that Horton recently launched here out of Roseville. We'll be talking to CEO Cordell Dietz, as well as a couple people who made the RCV 2000 happen. But first, here's a sneak peek at the RCV 2000. Awesome. Pleased to be joined now by Cordell Dietz, Horton President and CEO. Cordell, thanks for taking a couple minutes out of your busy schedule to chat with us today. Really appreciate it. It's an exciting time to be at Horton. How does Horton's expertise in engine cooling translate to off-highway and specifically to mining, would you say?
It might help to go a little bit back in time before that question. Horton's 68 years old, and it was founded by a gentleman named Hugh Schilling, and he was an inventor. Today we would call him an innovator, but in reality he was an inventor. And Horton at one time had many, many different products, all around friction control, motion control products. And in the mid-60s he invented the original pneumatic fan drive. And it was just one of many different products that we had. It happened to take off and became the primary part of the entire business, and eventually was split off to become solely the business, which was fan drives for over-the-road trucks. And so it's really natural for us to extend a particular product and add additional products to what we've already done. It's part of what we do, so it's not necessarily, it's certainly an extension, but it is just a continuum of what Horton has always done, which was invent new things that solve customer problems. And when I talk about customer problems today, what that means is productivity for customers as well as efficiency. So we save them time and we save them money and we solve their problems that way.
Fantastic. Mining has seemed to maybe be relatively a little less affected by the COVID-19 pandemic than maybe other industries. Why do you think that is, and how does that kind of play into where we're at?
Two things are driving it. There's still tremendous demand for raw materials, and raw materials are things that come out of the ground, whether it's copper or whether it's iron ore and coal in certain parts of the world. And so mining is a really long-term play. So they don't think in terms of 6 months or 12 months. Miners think in terms of 5 years or 10 years, because the projects that they have are so massive. So you've got this combination of continued demand in the world for commodity raw materials to be pulled out of the ground, and then the long-term aspect of mining, which is they think in terms of decades. And so they don't get impacted by day-to-day activities that much of the rest of the world has. So I think that's really the key thing.
Sure, and you talked about some of those problems or challenges that mining manufacturers face. How does Horton kind of go about helping them solve those problems?
So in the case of the RCV 2000, we do what we've always done, which is focus on our customers' problems. And sometimes when I say problems, they're opportunities. We're doing the same thing that we have done in the past, which is make our customers more efficient and more competitive. And specifically in mining, we've been in fan drives with trucks and other smaller diesel engines for many, many years. And there has been really a lack of innovation in mining for this particular product line. So all we're doing is letting our customers take an awful large leap in where they're at today to where we can take them, but based on what we've learned over the last 40 years. And what we're offering is a unit that is going to make them more productive. It's going to allow their equipment to run faster. It's going to allow them to run their equipment at a lower operating cost rate, and it's lighter. So we're simply taking our knowledge from what we've done in the past and introducing it to a new market in a way that they haven't seen before. And I think that's the beauty of what Horton has been able to do, is be creative and thoughtful. And it's far from the same product that we would supply, say, into the trucking industry, but it's similar in what it does. So we've got a lot of the expertise already. We're just applying it to a new application in a much bigger way.
Absolutely. We'll let you go with this one. It's obviously been a challenging year for really all industries, all manufacturers. How has Horton kind of handled things this year, and what does the future look like as we move through this challenging time together?
We're a private company. It lets us think like miners, actually. We think in terms of decades. We're on our third generation at this company. And so, of course, we've cut back on things that we don't need to spend today, so we've tightened our belts like everybody has and like everybody should. But we have not stopped a single project or a single activity that we would consider strategic. And we would label strategic as things that our customers are going to need 5 years from now and 10 years from now, and are continuing on all of those. So of course we've held back on things that we can and need to, but everything else that's strategic, we haven't changed one iota. So some good examples: we don't have a single slowdown in product development cycles. We're continuing with all of that. We're building a new factory in South Carolina. We're continuing with that. We're expanding our factory in Schweinfurt, Germany. We're continuing with that because eventually this is going to be over. Every 10 to 15 years there's a crisis of some sort. And just like we have after every 10 or 15 years in this country, we come out of it. And the winners that come out of it are the ones who stay focused on what we're going to look like when it's all over, not what it looks like today. Because it is going to be over, and you want to be on a winning foot when that happens.
The long-term perspective is as important as ever. Cordell, thank you for your words of wisdom and taking a couple minutes with us today.
You bet.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be joined by Blake Harris in just 1 second. But before we get to that, I wanted to mention that we have a webinar coming up next month dealing specifically with engine cooling for mining applications. Don't have a date set just quite yet. We'll be announcing that on Horton's social media as well as our website, hortonww.com, here in the next week or two probably. So keep an eye out for that webinar focused on engine cooling solutions for mining. One of the folks who will be intimately involved with that webinar is Horton Off-Highway Product Manager Blake Harris. Blake, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your busy schedule. Blake, how excited are you just to have launched the RCV 2000 and get it out in the market now?
We're very excited. As an off-highway product manager, obviously, a specific product for off-highway that's not unlike anything else in the market. So we're very excited to expand upon our technology just to a larger market on massive machines. So it's fun.
Fantastic. Let's get into the particulars a little bit. You've got it in your title. What can the product manager tell us about this particular product?
Right, so as I indicated, it's a viscous clutch, right? So it mounts to the engine. It's pulley driven. So we have other products for smaller diesel engines, 13 liter, 15 liter, 18 liter engines, but this is more for 50 liter engines and above, designed with durability and reliability in mind for mining. But essentially it's a belt-driven product where the input speed is driven by the belt off the crankshaft, and the viscous fluid internally to the clutch transitions torque. So more fluid in this area here, more torque transferred, more fan speed. And the inherent design over years of viscous clutch development has allowed us to really fine-tune controllability, which provides us a great competitive advantage in this space.
So that's how it works. How about where it works? Tell us a little bit about what type of equipment this was designed for and where it's being used today.
Absolutely. I mentioned 50-liter engines, engines geared towards large mining trucks, ultra-class mine haul trucks. And obviously we're launching right now. We're launching with Komatsu on the 830E and 930E-5 models. So we're very excited to work with obviously a very substantial mining player in Komatsu. Also working with another engine supplier, mining engine supplier as well to adapt our clutch with them as well. So working with some big players and very exciting.
Sure. So we'd originally planned to sort of debut the star of the show here, the RCV 2000, at Mine Expo this fall. For obvious reasons, that didn't happen. That trade show moved to September of 2021. Look forward to seeing everybody there. Lord willing, by that point in time, who knows what the calendar will look like. But in any case, Blake, you really have a finger on the pulse of what challenges are being faced in mines around the world as we speak today. What are some of those biggest hurdles that they're trying to overcome?
Right, so I talked about a little bit of the benefit of the clutch and kind of how that transitions to the customer is that increased controllability and the lower off speed and things that you get with a viscous clutch provides benefits such as noise benefit, reduced noise, and some mines are closer to metropolitan areas and things, so noise is a thing. But however, most of the benefit comes in efficiency and then that transitioning into more available power for the mine. Miners are always looking for the most efficient way to run their mine just in general and reduce their hourly rate or however they're measuring it right in that particular mine. So we're just trying to create a better, more efficient way to run a fan and transition that to more available power for the mine to run more efficiently, run faster, faster uphills, more just overall maybe get an extra run in per day, things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. You've traveled the world and talked face to face, obviously before COVID, to several manufacturers of mining equipment. Take us inside the minds of those engineers a little bit. What makes them tick and what problems are they trying to solve? Right,
so I mentioned some of the value that we're providing, but first and foremost, you can't talk about the value of the product without it being durable and reliable. So that's the first thing. It's almost an assumption, right?
Yeah.
With off-highway, you just can't have products that are not durable and reliable. So that is it's kind of in our DNA over the course of 68 years. So just making sure that we're basically in a facility that was built to make sure that this product is durable and reliable, at least a part of the facility, right? Multiple test cells dedicated to this product. Field trials and working directly with our customers and getting rapid customer feedback just to make the product as solid as possible going into production.
Sure. Now, this product that turns the fan, it's not just this standalone deal that you just throw into an engine and call it good. It's part of an overall kind of larger system. You have an H-Tech fan behind you. So tell us about kind of those holistic engine cooling solutions that this is obviously a very important part of, including the H-Tech fan, which was also designed specifically for mining applications, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'll start with kind of the synchronicity of the two. So having the fan and clutch together allows us to provide a complete airflow solution. We can tune the clutch, we can troubleshoot the clutch, we can do a bunch of testing before it going into the field, just in-house with the fan and the clutch. We can also design the clutch the fan such that it's optimized dimensionally for the clutch, and we've been able to do that with H-Tech. But moving into more of the H-Tech discussion is, we've been providing fans for mining and large construction applications, large generator applications for a lot of years. Metal fans traditionally, but really we saw a need where, with that same type of value proposition as efficiency and more available power as well as noise, is we have optimized blades with nylon material and things, but we have this material, this thermoset composite, that we're able to optimize the blade design of the H-Tech fan while also not sacrificing durability. And in many cases, the durability of this fan is greater than an H-Tech, greater than the metal fans, primarily due to most metal fans are put together by using rivets, so there's a lot of joints within the fan. By eliminating that with a single blade design, huck bolts as a fixture method, it's an ideal solution. Then combined with the RCV2000, it's the most efficient fan airflow solution in mining.
Sure. Now, a little bigger picture, but I think it ties exactly to what you're talking about. We've seen a lot of disruption in supply chains all over the world with COVID-19 pandemic and some of the economic fallout from that. How important is it for manufacturers to be looking at suppliers who really offer those holistic solutions again? So not just a standalone product, but really focusing on systems and more complete solutions to these challenges that we've been discussing.
Absolutely. So, Cordell talked a little bit about our dedication to customers and working with our customers directly on products and things like that. Obviously, a lot of market research and introductory conversations and voice of customer, these types of things, went into making these products, right? We got to know our customers first, but being able to provide the entire solution and see the big picture of airflow, working directly with radiator manufacturers, understanding the heat rejection and things required in order to cool an engine properly. We understand the whole system, and we work directly with the engineers at our customers. And Mike, the next guy that you're gonna have on, sorry to spoil the thunder there, but he's spoiler alert. He'll talk a little bit about application engineering, and that's really kind of it's a great value that we add, is deploying engineering technical resources directly at our customers in order to be that kind of liaison and have that technical expertise directly at the customer.
Sure. How about a little history on the RCV2000? This has been in the works for a long time, and a lot has gone into it. Take us inside that journey a little bit. Right.
Yeah. So it's not as easy to just kind of make a prototype and throw it on a mine haul truck, right? We don't have mine haul trucks rolling around Roseville, Minnesota, Minneapolis area. So it takes a little bit longer to build prototypes this large and to get them in the field and gain customer feedback and things, right? And build facilities in order to make sure that we're creating a durable product. So really it's more about just focusing on that development and keeping your head down and making sure staying the course and keeping the rudder straight. And it's really been a pleasure to work on. I've kind of had the opportunity to lead some of the launch efforts over the last year to 2 years. It's been awesome working with like I said, our application engineers on the customer end, but also our folks in Britain that are building these products. And we've got a bunch of new equipment and just kind of getting it all together. And working cross-functionally has been kind of second nature for Horton, and it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one for you, Blake. We talk a lot industry-wide really about advances in technology, automation, electrification, and so forth. When you look at mining specifically, what does the future look like?
Yeah, so obviously we're in the truck and off-highway markets, and a lot of industry trade shows and things. Recently, we saw it at Bauma, we saw it at ConExpo. Electrification is a big theme right now in our space. And the funny thing is, mining has been dabbling in electrification for upwards of 20 years. All the major OEMs have electric kind of hybrid equipment, right? So what you're going to see is more of that. You'll see more electrification. You'll see more electrically driven trucks. But you're going to continue to see a mix between internal combustion mechanical trucks and then electric trucks as well, more of the hybrid trucks. So you're going to continue to see that. You're also going to continue to see more autonomy. You're seeing a lot of that in the kind of passenger car space, as well as it's creeping up into truck as well. Talks of autonomy and talks of electrification, and certain applications are really good for that. And the same thing is going to apply to mining. You're going to want to be, whatever you can do to be more efficient, right? So autonomy and electrification can certainly help with those things.
Very good, sir. Well, thank you for taking a couple minutes with us today, Blake. We'll let you go with that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up in just a second will be Mike Bieber, our principal application engineer. But first, we're going to go a little deeper now into the inner workings of the RCV2000. Check out this animation. Well, you can see there's some pretty sophisticated technology that goes into viscous engine cooling systems. Here to talk about it is Horton's Principal Application Engineer, Mike Bieber. Mike, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Phil.
Thanks for coming on with us for a couple minutes, Mike. Tell us a little bit about the technology that goes into the RCV 2000 and how some of those innovations are so conducive to mining equipment's performance.
Sure. I'll elaborate on what Blake mentioned before on what the RCV 2000 technology is based on, and it's based on our viscous fan drive technology. It's variable speed. That's number one, right? We have to make sure we're minimizing as a cooling company. Our job is to minimize fan speed because that minimizes horsepower or frees up horsepower to send it to other systems in the truck that are used to do useful work, right? So a couple key features about the 2000 that sets it apart from current technology and other competitors is that it's a completely self-contained closed system, which means the only interaction with systems on the truck, it's not physical, it's only electronic, which is nice. It's makes the whole system more reliable and simpler for installation purposes. One other key feature to it, which it's a closed system, which means it's also closed loop. We have a fan speed sensor that gives feedback to make sure we close the loop for the most accurate and precise control of the fan speed possible to minimize the fuel wasted on or horsepower wasted on the fan and sends that horsepower to the wheels.
Sure. Now you spend a lot of time in the field having conversations with your fellow engineers and end users as well. What are maybe 2 or 3 top things that are just kind of on mining manufacturers' minds these days?
Yep, Blake mentioned it before. Our key thing for a new product launch is Horton's very cognizant of the key thing about reliability and durability and being in mining in these applications for the last 5 to 7 years. Myself, like that's paramount. You have to have that. That's the given. You can't show up and say that's your sell point. That has to be delivered immediately. And cause our job is to help them justify why they want to have this system, and that's productivity gains. That means as engineers, taking the fuel, which is the energy of the whole system, and turning it into useful work, right? And not taking that fuel and wasting it on parasitics like fan horsepower. Fan horsepower goes up with the cubic of the speed ratio, and as a quick example, 70% fan speed is 34% fan power, and 30% fan speed is 3% fan power. So it's huge to make sure that fan speed is as low as it needs to be, and only as high as it has to be.
Sure. So you've got this product. We already mentioned Komatsu is using it, one other large OEM project in the works there. If there's an application engineer out there who wants to, or a design engineer too, who wants to take a look at this, what is that process like for engineers to work with Horton and come up with something, a tweaked version of this that meets the exact needs of what they're looking for?
Yep. So Horton has a wide variety of application engineers. We're split up into 2 groups: off-highway, this being the key product for off-highway, and also on-highway. Off-highway engineers deal directly with customers, phone, email, Teams, anything that can get us in front of the customer face-to-face is what we want. Horton has worked very diligently over the years with our customers, number one, but also with our design engineering team to sort of put the box around what this product can and can't do. And then as the application engineer's job, obviously, is to make sure the customer's wills and wishes are met, but we also don't exceed the capabilities or limits of the fan drive itself. But very customer-focused. Horton's always been that way. We'll always continue to be that way. That comes from our owner, our CEO. Customer comes first, obviously. If you don't know what the customer wants, just ask them. That's all you have to do.
Sure, absolutely. One more for you, Mr. Bieber. About 20 of you application engineers on the team around the globe, like you mentioned. How much pride do you guys take in exactly what you just laid out, kind of coming up with those custom solutions for customers, engineers working with engineers?
Good questions. I think that's what sets Horton apart from many of our competitors, is that Horton's culture was here before any of us arrived, and the Horton culture continues to this day. I think the people that we hire are dedicated, and they take pride in what they do before they ever got to Horton, and they just happen to their personalities and their work ethic fits in with the Horton culture, and that's why people succeed as well as they do at Horton, because the foundation is here, and it's just going to continue to get better and grow with the talent that we hire. So everybody loves their job. Everybody is very interested in seeing the customer succeed, and nobody takes greater satisfaction in that than me at Horton. So, but the team in general is solid. Culture is there, and you can't. It's hard to create culture, and it's easy to destroy culture. And Horton's culture is solid.
Awesome. That is definitely where it all starts. Well, Mike, thanks for taking a couple minutes with us today.
Appreciate you having me. It's fun.
Thanks to Mike, as well as CEO Cordell Dietz and Horton Off-Highway Product Manager Blake Harris for joining us and dropping some knowledge on us today. If you want to get in touch with our team, check us out at hortonww.com. There's multiple ways to get in contact with us there. hortonww.com/mining has a lot more info on what we talked about today. And as well, don't forget to sign up for our Engine Cooling Solutions for Mining focused webinar. We'll be announcing details on that here in the next couple weeks, but that will take place sometime in September. We'll be able to dive even deeper than we did on the live stream today. That's going to do it from here in Roseville. Really appreciate you tuning in. I'm Phil Irvin, Horton Inc.'s Content Marketing Manager. We'll see you next time.